Jehovah's Witnesses believe we're living in what the Bible calls the last days of this world, and that God will soon bring an end to the way things work now and restore paradise to humankind. This will result in the death of billions of people who aren't Jehovah's Witnesses. If you ask one of Jehovah's Witnesses about this, though, they won't usually tell you that everyone who's not one of Jehovah's Witnesses is going to die at Armageddon. What they'll say is that all good people will survive. Some witnesses will say good-hearted people, or right-hearted people, or people with the right heart condition, or a variety of other phrases instead of good people, but the basic idea is the same. To many religious individuals, this answer sounds fine. I agree with that, they think. God wouldn't destroy anyone who's a good person. The problem is that Jehovah's Witnesses don't use the same definition for a good person that other people do. Typically, people use the phrase good person to mean someone who is kind, compassionate, generous, helpful, and so on. For most people, what religion they are doesn't matter. A person can be good no matter what religion they are, as long as they display good qualities. But that is not what Jehovah's Witnesses believe. The July 2007 Awake magazine, published by the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, makes it clear that in the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses, being good requires that you are living by God's rules as found in the Bible. For a lot of Christians, this still sounds okay. I try to live by God's rules, they say, and that makes me a good person. But that's not what Jehovah's Witnesses believe either. You see, Jehovah's Witnesses teach that you can't just follow God's rules the way you think they should be followed. You can't just read the Bible and do your best to live by what you learn when doing so. That doesn't make you a good person in their view. The brochure, Good News from God, also published by Watchtower, makes it clear that Jehovah's Witnesses believe there is only one true religion, and that God only accepts the worship of people who practice that religion. Naturally, Jehovah's Witnesses believe they are that one true religion. The brochure goes on to say that all other religions are false, and that their way of worship has been corrupted. Do you see what's going on here? When asked, Jehovah's Witnesses will tell you that all good people, or some variation of the phrase, will be protected by God when He brings the end of the present world. But what they mean by good is that you follow God's rules in the Bible. And since they also teach that only Jehovah's Witnesses practice the true religion found in the Bible, that means in order to be good, you have to be practicing the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses. The bottom line is that in the teaching of Jehovah's Witnesses, in order to qualify as a good person that will survive Armageddon, you have to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses. But wait, a normal, reasonable person will say, even if Jehovah's Witnesses had the only true religion, what about people who don't have an opportunity to learn, or who grew up in families or cultures where there aren't any witnesses, or the Bible isn't respected, or that don't even believe in God? Will God really destroy all of those people who didn't have a chance? The August 2010 Watchtower, Public Edition, attempts to address this question in the article, Do All Have an Equal Opportunity to Come to Know God? The article acknowledges that not everyone in the world lives under conditions favorable to learning about the Bible. To get around this problem, it quotes Matthew chapter 19, where Jesus says, "With God, all things are possible." Let's read between the lines here. Since God can do anything, even if you grow up or live under circumstances that aren't favorable to reading the Bible and learning the truth about God, God will make sure that happens for you if you have the right heart condition. And who are the only people Jehovah's Witnesses believe have the truth about God? Jehovah's Witnesses. So if God doesn't use His power to lead you to the truth from the Bible as taught by Jehovah's Witnesses, then you must not be right-hearted. Then, at the end of the article, it says that God will make sure that those who have never had the occasion to learn about Him will be given an opportunity by means of a resurrection. Oh, says the normal religious person, If God is going to save people who never had a chance to learn by resurrecting them, well, that's okay then. Let me point out, though, that in order to be resurrected, a person has to die. This article makes it sound like Jehovah's Witnesses believe that everyone who dies without knowing what they call the truth about God will be resurrected and given an opportunity to learn. But that's not what Jehovah's Witnesses believe. In the June 1st, 1988 Watchtower, the Questions from Readers article asks this question: do Jesus' words at Matthew chapter 11 verse 24 mean that those whom Jehovah destroyed by fire in Sodom and Gomorrah will be resurrected? Matthew 11:24 is where Jesus states that it will be more endurable for the land of Sodom on Judgment Day than for those who rejected Jesus' message. The article concludes that those who died in the judgment of Sodom and Gomorrah won't be resurrected. It then ties in the global flood story and says that those who died at the flood of Noah's day will not be resurrected. The article then states that people who die at Armageddon will not receive a resurrection either. So when the 2010 Watchtower article says that people who have never had the occasion to learn about God will be resurrected and given a second chance, that's simply not true. Those who died in the flood, those who died at Sodom and Gomorrah, and the billions of people destroyed at Armageddon will not receive a resurrection. This is what the doctrine of Jehovah's Witnesses teaches. Jehovah's Witnesses are aware that many people know that they think only Jehovah's Witnesses will be saved, and so they added a question on the frequently asked questions page of their website to address this issue. In answer to the question, do Jehovah's Witnesses feel that they are the only people who will be saved, it says, no. Many millions who lived in centuries past and who weren't Jehovah's Witnesses will have an opportunity for salvation. The Bible explains that in God's promised new world, there is going to be a resurrection of both the righteous and the unrighteous. Additionally, many now living may yet begin to serve God, and they too will gain salvation. In any case, it's not our job to judge who will or won't be saved. That assignment rests squarely in Jesus' hands. Let's break this down. First, it says many millions who lived in centuries past will be resurrected. As I've already shown, that means people who die prior to Armageddon. Those are the only people Jehovah's Witnesses believe will be resurrected. Those who die at Armageddon will not be. It then says that many now living may begin to serve God and be saved. But Jehovah's Witnesses teach that God accepts only worship based on His word of truth as taught by Jehovah's Witnesses, the only true religion. All other religions are false and corrupt, they say. So in order to begin to serve God, what religion do you have to be? One of Jehovah's Witnesses. The last part of the answer says that it's not Jehovah's Witnesses' job to judge who will or won't be saved. That job belongs to Jesus. However, in a July 15, 1994 Watchtower article referencing John chapter 10, it says that those who know Jesus' voice, those identified as His sheep, will follow Him when called. It also says that you're only a sheep if you recognize and acknowledge Jesus' teachings as the truth. And who do Jehovah's Witnesses say is the only religion teaching the truth from the Bible? Jehovah's Witnesses. So whose teachings do they believe you should follow because they accurately reflect Jesus' teachings? Jehovah's Witnesses. So in order to qualify as a sheep chosen by Jesus to survive Armageddon, what religion do you have to be? One of Jehovah's Witnesses. When you pay attention to what the literature of Jehovah's Witnesses actually says, the message is clear. Only those who died prior to Armageddon will be resurrected and given a second chance, and the billions of people who are not Jehovah's Witnesses when Armageddon comes will be destroyed by God. Jehovah's Witnesses used to be much more direct about this in their literature, saying in the March 15, 1965 Watchtower, that God's written word holds out no hope of a resurrection for those fighters against God who are executed in the war of the great day of God the Almighty at Armageddon. In 1973, the Watchtower clearly stated what it means to be fighters against God, saying that it's people who have given no moral support to God's messianic kingdom and have thereby proved themselves to be a part of this world of which Satan the devil is the invisible ruler. Since Jehovah's Witnesses believe that they are the only true religion being supported by God, the only way you can lend moral support to God's messianic kingdom is by actively supporting His religion, the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses. Again, we see that only those who are Jehovah's Witnesses are going to be spared destruction at Armageddon. That's what Jehovah's Witnesses teach and believe. It's my opinion that the Watchtower organization is well aware of how horrible, bigoted, and hateful this doctrine sounds to people who are not Jehovah's Witnesses. And that's why they no longer make such statements so directly in their literature. The teaching is still there, but you have to connect the dots between their various publications to see it. To state this doctrine to people directly in the modern era of human rights and greater tolerance would be a public relations disaster, and in some countries, such doctrines are strictly illegal. For an example of a situation where Watchtower obfuscated another one of their doctrines in an effort to avoid legal trouble, see the JWFacts.com article, Bulgaria, the Watchtower, and Blood Transfusions. The definition of a lie is a false statement made with deliberate intent to deceive. When you ask one of Jehovah's Witnesses if they believe that only Jehovah's Witnesses will inherit everlasting life, they will say that no, all good people will survive, or some variant of that wording. They may even point you to the frequently asked questions page that we saw on jw.org. They'll tell you this, even though they know that their religion teaches that to be good means to follow the Bible and its rules, and that their religion also teaches that only Jehovah's Witnesses have the true religion that follows the Bible. All other religions are false and corrupt. Because Jehovah's Witnesses know that the person asking the question doesn't define a good person the same way Jehovah's Witnesses do, this is an intentional deception, a lie. It's a lie that's told as a PR move, intended to prevent people from seeing the true doctrine of Jehovah's Witnesses. Everyone who is not one of Jehovah's Witnesses will be destroyed by God at Armageddon.